a disjunctive meaning. Applying. Defendant's counsel, are you with me?
I am, my lord.
Right, thank you. Additionally, it is true as argued by defendant's counsel that the word or, when used in a document or a statute, connotes a disjunctive meaning. Applying the said interpretation above to the provision of section 2913C of 1999 Constitution as amended, the implication is that both the National Assembly and the House of Assembly of a state have powers under the Constitution to make laws as it pertains to the subject matter of pensions and other allowances for judicial officers. I so hold. The foregoing, however, is not the end point of the contention here, as the next question that needs to be answered is, what then is the position of the law when there are two legislations, one by the National Assembly and the other by a state House of Assembly on the same subject matter? The doctrine of covering the field answers the above question, as it is a doctrine in constitutional law that applies in federal constitutions where legislative powers are shared between the federal government and the federating states on matters in the legislative list. It applies only to statutes made by the federal and state legislatures under the concurrent legislative list. Where a matter contained in the concurrent legislative list has been legislated upon by the National Assembly, then the State House of Assembly cannot pass a legislation in that regard, as the Act of the National Assembly is said to have covered the field in that regard. See the case of AG Lagos State versus Eco Hotels. 2017 LPLR 43713 Supreme Court. Further to the above, where such a law passed by State House of Assembly contains some provisions which are inconsistent with the federal enactment, it then becomes void and of no effect for the inconsistency. This is provided for in section 1 sub 3 and section 4.5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. With regard to the instant case, the defendant had argued that the subject matter in question does not fall within the exclusive legislative list, and so it can make a law in that regard. And thus the said Kebbi State Political and Public Office Holder Salaries and Allowances Law number 25 of 2010, which is exhibit. And in that regard, cited the Kebbi State Political and Public Office Holders Salaries and Allowances Law number 25 of 2010, which is exhibit B2. I have equally taken note of exhibit D, which is Salaries and Allowances, etc. Amendment Act 2008. The aforementioned act is captioned Annual Basic Salary for Judicial Officers, Federal and State, while Part 2B is captioned Allowances and Fringe Benefits for Judicial Officers, Federal and State, which covers all the subject areas that Section 4 Salaries and Allowances Law number 25 of 2010 has subsequently, the light of the authorities earlier cited, is that because there is already an act of the National Assembly that is certain political, public, and judicial office holders, salaries and allowances, etc., Amendment Act 2008 in force, the defendant through its State House of Assembly cannot come under the provisions of Section 4, Section 4 sub 6 and 100 of the Constitution to legislate on the subject matter before this court. This, in addition to the fact that section of the Kebbi State Political and Public Office Holder Salaries and Allowances Law number 25 of 2010 has figures or amounts stipulated that are inconsistent with what has been provided in the federal enactment and by the provision of Section 4 sub 5, 1999 Constitution as amended. It states thus, I quote, if any law enacted by the House of Assembly of a state is inconsistent with any law validly made by the National Assembly, the law made by the National Assembly shall prevail, and that other law shall to the extent of its inconsistency be void, unquote. Consequent upon the above, it is my holding that Section 4 of the Kebbi State Political and Public Office Holders Salaries and Allowances Law number 25 of 2010, being inconsistent with a certain political, public and judicial office holders, salaries and allowances, etc. Amendment Act 2008, made portion to sections 84, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7, and section 2913 is null and void. On the whole, It is my finding that the case of the claimant has merit and succeeds accordingly, and the questions 1, 2, and 4 raised in the originating summons are answered in the affirmative, while question 3 is answered in the negative. Hence, the reliefs 1 to 6 sought by the claimant are all hereby granted. Meanwhile, relief 8 is for damages in the sum of 50 million naira for hardship caused by delay in payment of claimant's retirement benefits. I have taken note of paragraph 4D of the affidavit in support of originating summons, where it was deposed that upon the claimant's retirement, sometime in December 2022, the defendant offered benefits calculated upon the state laws, which eventually necessitated the filing of this action on 23rd day of March 2023. Flowing from the above, the said retirement benefits were offered to the claimant and not withheld. Thus, it cannot be said that there was delay occasioned by that, as the contention was upon the applicable law to be used in the calculation of the retirement benefits. Consequently, the said relief is refused. However, the claimant having succeeded substantially in his claims before the court, it was the holding of the Apex Court in the case of Kappa and Delbato, Nigerian PLC versus NDIC, 2021, 9 LR part 1780, 1 at 14, paragraph D to H, that a successful party is entitled to costs, which should not be denied except for good reasons. Claimant having been able to prove wrongful termination, hence in Mekwenye and Emirates Airlines, 2019 LPLR 46553, Supreme Court, pages 67 to 73, paragraph E, held that cost is at the discretion of court once empowered by its rules. And in this court, order 55 rules 1 to 5 provides for such. Thus, I award a cost of 100,000 naira only in favor of the claimant. Judgment is hereby entered.
Thank you, my lord. We are so grateful for the lordship.
I think that should be all.
And for the industry.
Thank you,
My lord,
counsel.
we acknowledge the
much,
sound judgment just delivered.
Thank you,
we
counsel.
apply that a copy be made available to us so that we notify the authorities appropriately, my lord.
Yes, so you liaise with the registrar of the Sokoto division. It will be ready here, but so he has to find a way to have the judgment sent across to Sokoto. So you see the registrar there in Sokoto.
It's okay, my lord.
Judgment will definitely be ready before tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you, my lord.
All right, thank you. So that will be all for Sokoto matters. Yes. So you can now exit the platform for this virtual sitting. Thank you. All right. Thank you.